spookiest time of the year is here, and it's Halloween!
That's right, Brian, the spookiest time of year is here. Oh, it is us, Max and Brian. You probably didn't recognize us.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Take that off your face.
What?
Take that off.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Why are you talking like that?
It's when you wear a mask, it makes you do that.
What's up? How's it going? Welcome back. It's another episode of Up at Noon, that show that's on sometimes.
Yes.
Welcome to the Up at Noon Halloween Spooktacular, presented by Apex Legends Season 3. Available now. You probably didn't recognize us. We're dressed up like our favorite Apex Legends.
That's right. I have
Pathfinder
less hair, but
and Caustic.
yeah.
You're just as gassy, though.
It's hard to
And
wear
toxic.
the mask and talk with all that. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
I should have been wearing that mask when I spray painted all this stuff, because I probably have a headache now. Is it?
I think it's the paint.
We'll explain how to make costumes later in the program, but in the meantime, Brian, do you know what Halloween's a good time for besides pencils and caramel apples?
Oh, I know. It's from pooping your pants from fear from all of the big scary beasts and monsters.
Why'd you have to get gross about it? Anyway, check out these monsters.
We love them.
Movie monsters come in all shapes and sizes, from Godzilla to Gremlins, and just like human celebrities, some of them are much more popular than others.
We decided to dig around a little bit and unearth some of the lesser-known creatures that don't get quite as much love as the Draculas, the Frankensteins, the aliens, predators, Freddys, Jasons, Chuckies, and so on.
I like that you said the Draculas.
The Draculas.
We wanted to focus on monsters who never got their due, even though they've had plenty of time to achieve cult status, so we skipped more recent movies like The Ritual, Trick or Treat, Krampus, and A Quiet Place, even though the monsters in all those movies kick ass.
Those are great monsters. But now, the list. Cthulhu for The Relic. Though based on a popular novel, the 1997 movie The Relic bombed critically and commercially when it hit the big screen, but there's no denying that the Aztec god beast Cthulhu was badass thanks to Stan Winston's awesome practical creature work, which looked like a cross between the Predator and one of those terror dogs from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he was awful, but I love that dude. The Beast of Givaudan in Brotherhood of the Wolf is based on the actual beast that supposedly terrorized the French countryside in the 16th century. Cryptozoologists theorize it may have been a lion, a tiger, or a hyena or something that escaped from some foppish aristocrat's menagerie. But the movie version kicks things up a notch by making it even more disgusting.
That movie is bloodborne as hell.
Yeah, watch it.
Michael Mann's second directorial outing, The Keep, isn't quite a good movie, but it's got lots of good stuff in it, like Ian McKellen, a soundtrack by Tangerine Dream, and the awesome monster known as Molasar, who looks like he might have inspired some of the enemies in Resident Evil, and he kills a bunch of Nazis. Yes, Molasar, keep
You
word.
Nazis, yeah, get them. The baby graboids from Tremor 2 are very good. The baby graboids from Tremors 2 are very good. The entire concept of Tremors hinges on gigantic, bus-sized worms that burrow beneath the desert at terrifying speeds, devouring cowboys, campers, and other lonely archetypal dudes living on the fringes of society. But in between eating men and making houses sink into the sand, they also found time to make love and have sex and have babies in the sequel. Look at these little babies. Aren't they great? Can you imagine those big floppy worms just going to town, getting all wet, making babies? Now you can.
Speaking of making love, H.R. Giger, who designed the xenomorph alien, was tasked with designing another monster for 1995's Species. Everyone knows that Alien is a masterpiece of sci-fi horror with incredible performances, production design, and effects, but Species presupposes that. What if it was more like a horny late-night cable softcore porn film where everybody has hot steamy sex on sofas and in hot tubs and stuff like that? Anyway, that's what Syl is. Horny xenomorph.
I used to have that movie
Yeah.
on VHS. It taught me like a lot of bad lessons about the.
We learned a lot of lessons about
Those nasty, awful worms from Dreamcatcher and otherwise film. Movie adaptations of Stephen King's books are pretty hit or miss, and while Dreamcatcher is mostly a triumphant That's what I meant. Movie adaptations of Stephen King's books are pretty hit or miss. Movie adaptations of Stephen King's books are pretty hit or miss, and while Dreamcatcher is mostly a triumphant disaster, aka hot street trash, those nasty worms were awesome, but they pale in comparison to the scariest creature in the film, which is Morgan Freeman's eyebrows. And also, is that dude, he's like a dude with special powers, his name's like Duffets or something.
Dunnits.
Dunnits.
That's such a bad movie.
Wait, it's so bad they go in the library of the mind?
Oh, God.
Get out! Shut the door!
From Dusk Till Dawn is predominantly known as a vampire dive bar film where people throw water balloons full of holy water at demonic alcoholics, but Dusk Till Dawn is secretly also a fantastic movie for disturbing human-to-monster transformations, like when Tom Savini drops to his hands and knees and becomes a big rat for some reason, or when Fred Williamson turns into what looks like an inflated Tyrannosaurus man.
Isn't that weird?
Great movie!
He goes like, and his face gets all fat.
I wish that all the vampires were animorphs.
What? Cockroach Men from The Mimic, that's good ones.
Oh, yeah.
Guillermo del Toro is not shy about his love of monsters, but the creepy crawly stars of Mimic don't get nearly as much praise as the creatures in his other films like The Shape of Water or Pan's Labyrinth. Mimic was a so-so film, but its mutant cockroaches who disguise themselves as old men were awesome and creepy as hell, and we loved them.
Just like regular old men.
Old men are disgusting.
The Stuff is a wonderfully stupid horror movie about a new dessert craze that kills people. It's basically sentient, murderous marshmallow fluff, and in spite of the horrible dangers being clearly shown on screen, it's still somehow appetizing as hell. Sort of like that old Cool Whip commercial where the flying Cool Whip tub sprinkles all over a kid's cookie sandwich.
Pumpkinhead was notable for being creature effects legend Stan Winston's directorial debut, but it feels a bit like it was made from Aliens leftovers. It stars Lance Henriksen squaring off against a gigantic monster puppet, but instead of like Android versus aliens in a spaceship, Pumpkinhead's about a farmer fighting a demon in a rustic autumnal harvest time countryside. And the demon itself seems like basically a pumpkin spice queen alien. I mean that as a compliment. That actually sounds like a great dessert treat.
I like that. That's a good. It's Stan Winston presents a rustic hayride of terror. Pumpkins, everybody.
Come on down to Dunkin' Donuts for the pumpkin spice demons.
That movie's based on a poem. I don't know why.
Poems are for nerds.
Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Virus was a wet, expensive mess of a film that bombed horrifically at the box office, in which most people either didn't see, hated, or forgot about entirely, but it had some badass biomechanical creature designs that came to life with a great mix of practical and digital effects, and they don't get nearly enough love.
The Host was one of Korean auteur Bong Joon-ho's first hits in the West. It's a touching, dysfunctional family comedy, a bit like Little Miss Sunshine, but with a terrifying monster in place of a beauty pageant. And that terrifying monster needs an action figure, so I can put him on my desk and scare away real people in real life and be a loser, lonely man who watches horror films at night.
That's really what we're getting at here, is we want toys of all of these fake animal men. I think a few of them did get toys over the years, but they need new ones. Somebody get Todd McFarlane on the phone, tell him to stop trifling around with Fortnite and My Hero Academia. We need more monster toys, darn it. What are your favorite underrated horror movie monsters? Let us know in the comments. What?
Your dad.
Anyway, let us know in the comments what your favorite underrated movie monsters are. And please, like, don't say one of those mainstream ones. We're talking about the underground loser monsters that nobody loves except for weirdos like us. Thank you for watching. We love you. Sincerely, your favorite loser weirdo monsters.
Happy Halloween.
You almost said Hanukkah, didn't you?
Maybe.
Wow, those are some great formidable beasts. I really love those horrible, awful creatures. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Max, what about Halloween costumes if you're on a budget but you want to look cool as hell and you don't want it to cost you an arm and a leg?
That's very frightening.
Gotta watch.
That's what they're gonna watch the video now.
I know, they got
There it is. They just show it.
They could leave though.
Serious cosplayers spend countless hours creating the most accurate costumes possible. But let's say you just want to throw together a fun Halloween costume using some cheap supplies and a handful of stuff you probably have lying around the house. Well, here's a crash course in how I put together these Apex Legends Halloween costumes of Caustic and Pathfinder. Presented by Apex Legends Season 3. To make these, I used a hot glue gun and lots of glue sticks, cardboard, recycled containers of all sorts, corrugated plastic tubing, elastic straps, acrylic paint, wire, pliers, rubber surgical tubing, a plastic bike reflector, and probably something I forgot to list. Getting Caustic's headgear together was easy enough. I just painted a pair of safety goggles and a respirator you can find at most hardware stores. The bottom of the neck piece is made from an aluminum can hot glued to a plastic rice container and a vitamin bottle with a piece of the plastic tubing glued on one end and looped around in a C shape with a piece of elastic stretching back to the bottom part. The chest piece is a plastic container that had dog wipes in it. That has more aluminum cans glued to the front of it, and I ran 2 long lengths of hosing through it and suspended the whole thing with an elastic strap attached on top. Caustic's grenades are also made from recycled garbage glued together. Caustic's poncho apron thing is one giant rectangular piece of yellow fabric with a small hole cut for Brian's large head. The edge of that is all hemmed with yellow tape because I hate sewing and also I'm very bad at it. And then I clipped some fake pouches to that. To make those, I took a couple cardboard boxes that had frozen food in them, stuffed them with paper towels instead, and wrapped them in felt and tape with a little piece of bent wire in the back to make a belt loop. And that's Caustic. Now, putting together my Pathfinder costume didn't have quite as many components, but it took a lot of cardboard and a lot of time. Pathfinder's head is a piece of cardboard with a takeout container glued to the middle of it, wrapped up with some foam tubing with plastic cups glued on the side for his little tiny ears. The yellow rings that go around Pathfinder's face are just wire with surgical tubing over them painted yellow. The big red eye in the middle is a bike reflector, and the little white dots in the corner are disposable contact lens packets. The rest of the costume is really more of the same. The chest is one big rectangular piece of cardboard with plastic meat trays and old seaweed containers glued onto it. The arm pieces got a little more complicated. I cut grooves down the middle of each piece, ran hot glue along it, and then held them at angles with rubber bands until the glue dried solid. To create Pathfinder's various robotic panels and doodads, I glued lots and lots of pieces of cardboard everywhere. The yellow frame pieces are more wire with surgical tubing. For the backpack with the grapple spools on it, I glued corrugated cardboard to more aluminum cans and then stuck a piece of wire in those, and then glued those to a piece of styrofoam mounted on more cardboard that got more elastic arm loops on the back like a little backpack. The costume really came together when I painted it. Step 1 was to hit all the assembled pieces with flat black spray primer. After that, I mixed up the right color of acrylic paint and got ready for dry brushing. Overall construction here probably took around 12 hours total, and the price of supplies probably cost around $60. If this all sounds like too much trouble, you can always go play Dress Up in Apex Legends. Season 3 is available right now, and the Fight or Fright event is bringing all sorts of spooky tricks and treats in honor of Halloween. If you have any questions about how this all came together, drop them in the comments. Happy Halloween, everybody!
Scary.
So thanks again to Apex Legends for sponsoring this episode. Once again, Season 3 is out right now, and they're having a Fight or Fright event, which is actually great. I think, honestly, getting a Halloween costume together is sort of like playing a Battle Royale game where you got to run out there and you got to get your stuff together and you got to put it together, and maybe the outcome isn't always what you hoped it would be.
It's also, I think we could technically play video games in these costumes, which
could.
I'm a big fan of.
We could totally do that. I could use these gloves. I can't use touch screens, but hey, check this out.
Oh, I like that. That's really good.
Now I have my game face on.
That's a good one. We could put like a tray here for cookies and have
You can
snacks.
do all sorts of stuff on here. There were actually previously snacks in most of this costume.
Really?
These had sauce in them. You ever had sauce in your elbow?
I've had sauce inside me my whole life.
Speaking of snacks, Halloween is a great time for all sorts of sweet treats, candies, gummies, and other things you put in your mouth.
You say candies?
Candies?
Some candies have gone away and have never returned, and some would say they're even dead and become ghosts. But we hope that some of them come back. So here's some of our favorite candies from beyond the grave that we want to return to our mouths.
Candies from beyond the grave.
You can do that, that's all right.
Candies! They stopped making them.
What? First on the list is Bonkers. Bonkers were amazing because I don't think it was possible to ever get them fresh. I think there was like one kid in Cincinnati that got them straight from the factory, but everybody else got these weird little, basically like hard as hell Starbursts that had like a flavored chew inside, and the outside of the wrapper made it look like an insane asylum.
Were they just like chewy centered now and laters?
Cream Savers. Wow. Gross. Why did you put that on this list? You want that to come back?
I miss them. That wasn't a Halloween candy. That was like a candy you would get at like waiting rooms places.
All right.
So Skittles Gum, do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember Skittles Gum? It's exactly what it sounds like. It was gum that was Skittles.
Did you swallow it?
I did swallow it. I was on a bus ride to Vermont one time, and I ate 2 boxes of Skittles Gum, and I threw up all over the aisle, and the bus driver had to clean it up.
Does it really get stuck inside the stomach for 8 whole years?
Not if you throw it up on a Peter Pan bus ride to Vermont.
What?
Yeah.
Is that from the makers of Pan Air?
No. Do you remember Wonder Ball?
Wonder Ball was great. It was like a grenade full of confetti chocolate candy.
Really? I was going to say that Wonder Ball sucked. Fun fact, fruit snacks are basically candy that has tricked its way into being in healthy lunches. So Delicious was a fruit snack that I never had because I'm younger than you.
What? So Delicious was amazing.
My mom was... Brian, what's a PB Max?
What?
What's a PB Max?
It stands for Peanut Butter Maximus, and it's a candy bar that you can't eat anymore. It was basically like a small, like square brick full of peanut butter and chocolate and crunches and all sorts of delicious things, and you can't find them anymore. I really enjoyed them back in the day, but they don't make them.
Why
They
did
stopped.
the Peanut Butter Max go extinct?
I don't know. It's full of things that kids crave.
Butterfinger BBs. That was the small child eggs of the Butterfinger bar.
Yeah, I specifically remember there was moments in the advertising campaigns where Bart Simpson would eat them and then Homer would choke his son. Lifesavers holes. You remember Lifesavers? You should. We talked about them just a moment of time ago. But the Lifesavers holes.
Now this is not a candy, but it is a sweet treat, and we would never pass up the opportunity to discuss a delicacy that has been discontinued, such as the Viennetta.
The Viennetta.
The Viennetta, the fanciest treat, the big ice cream log. If you're too young to know what a Viennetta is, you should ask your parents about it because they were probably eating one when you were conceived.
Anyway, those were some of the best, greatest, retired, deadest, and old, rotten, never to be seen again candies that we wish would return from the grave. What do you want to see in your mouth to eat that doesn't exist anymore? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll read it.
From all of us here at Up at Noon, a happy Halloween to each and every one of you, and a huge thank you to Apex Legends for giving us an excuse to play dress up on our adult show for children.
Hey, get out there and have a good Halloween. Don't get in any troubles.